Hello guys and welcome back for yet another video. Here's a preview of InArt, and speaking of InArt, I'm just uploading, I believe it's gonna be either before or after this video, the Harry Potter from InArt, the premium version. So yeah, two InArt videos for you guys today. Let's dig in here with the Superman. Obviously this is based on Henry Cavill's Superman from Man of Steel, obviously his first movie here, which, man, I cannot believe this thing released like what, 13 years ago, which is crazy. But again, I have to say right here from this first picture, this is pretty much safe to say this is the best Man of Steel figure out there. Not necessarily statue, because Prime 1 is cooking with their Henry Cavill statues, but this one, at least in 1/6 scale form, I have to say is the best. I mean, just the likeness alone, like the skin textures and everything. The only thing missing here, I do remember in the movie, he did had some hairs that were kind of poking right there, on his chest. So that would have been cool just to add a little bit of a, sculpted hair, or just, to paint them. But I mean, other than that, I mean, it's not even a nitpick. It's just me, but again, this thing is fantastic looking. Again, the jawline right there, the stern, eyes right there, the eyes, the face, everything, the jawline right there. And this thing is awesome. Again, sculpted hair, I have no issues with that personally. Again, the eyes are gonna be movable. And again, let's take a look here how detailed the suit is. Again, a lot darker than the Hot Toys version, but again, this is very movie accurate. Again, you have the big Superman shield right there, the Hope shield. Again, at first, when I first saw the design, I wasn't a big fan of these. I don't know how do you want to call these rubbery patterns. I prefer when Superman has a belt, but I do remember thinking that 13 years ago when I first saw the concept of the suit. Wasn't a big fan, but again, this grows on me, and I still think that Henry Cavill is not necessarily the best Superman out there. To be quite honest, I think Christopher Reeve is still the best Superman and Clark Kent, especially when it comes to Clark Kent. I think he did a fantastic job, because there's the big difference between obviously Clark Kent and Superman. Obviously Clark Kent being a very clumsy character, and Superman is pretty much like a god, very stoic. My biggest issue with the latest David Corenswet Superman is he's too emotional. I think Superman should be again more stoic. And again, it was a pretty cool movie. I think I'm supposed to get my invoice on that from InArt, so that's gonna be pretty cool. I'm gonna get that soon here on the channel for a review. But again, you have the shackles right there, which was on the scene when he was pretty much captured by the army, and he was pretty much ripping those shackles like it was nothing. Again, fantastic head sculpt right there. And this thing has two head sculpts. That's very nice. I think one is the open mouth. It's kind of slightly open mouth. Would have been cool to have a third head sculpt with like the laser eyes. And this one here, which I think is the best. I mean, look at that right there. Fantastic, man. Even how like the sculpted hair, very nice strands right there. This thing is gonna be awesome. Again, relatively articulated. I don't think as of right now the suits that the Superman figure have are that restricted. But this one looks almost like a cloth material with this like honeycomb, mesh design on it, which is pretty cool. But again, the musculature, the proportions are very nice. Obviously, Henry Cavill did use like a muscle suit, uh, in the movies, starting with the Man of Steel, and then I believe he also had like a gray or like a silver suit, and then they apply like the Superman suit on top, so you can kind of see these metallic reflections, as you can see right there on these abs and the shoulders. So again, very nice right there. But again, the proportions are very nice. It looks like pretty much a 1/scale version of Henry Cavill. Again, you do have the cape right there. I'm pretty much sure that you're gonna have two capes, as we're accustomed. So like a draping cape and a one that you have the wires inside, and this one looks very nice right there. This reminds me of the shot when he was in Antarctica, I believe, next to the Fortress of the Solitude. He was pretty much coming out of the fortress as about, and he's about just to fly. This is what it reminds me of. Very, very nice right there. Look at that. The lighting is intense. Look how awesome the head sculpt is right there. You can see all the wrinkles, his eyelashes, everything. I don't think these are actually, it's pretty much sculpted, but again, this thing is fantastic. Again, the best Henry Cavill wants skill head sculpt out there. You know, it's not even close. Yeah, awesome. Greenish eyes right there. Very nice. And again, here's the other head sculpt again. A little bit more conflicted right there if you have an open mouth. Usually, I'm not a big fan of these head sculpts where the character has the open mouth. A good example in mine is gonna be like the Hot Toys Jake Sully, the first one. That almost like a stupid you know, expression, but this one again, it looks very nice. You have the nice wrinkles right there in the bra area of this face. Very nice, man. The nose. Again, no complaints with this one. Again, even like the textures on the neck, gonna be awesome. Again, look at that, man. Oof, this thing is gonna be a perfection. Again, you have a regular base, nothing too crazy. I'm not the biggest fan of InArt bases, to be quite honest. They kind of museum-ish. I know some collectors like that. Personally, I like more environmental bases. Yeah, look at that. Even the hands, very nice looking hands. The sculpt right there. You know, the reddish knuckles. Yeah, this thing is gonna be awesome, man. Yeah, look at that. Very nice. Nice beefiness, the proportions, the muscle. You can see the muscle groups, the striations. Everything looks fantastic. Look at that. Boom. Henry Cavill. I think this is actually the most realistic shot right there. I mean, this one again looks almost like a shot from the movie. If you stay back and just look at this from like a distance, this looks like a miniature version of Henry Cavill. I mean, this looks freakishly photoreal. And again, I think that's the intention of InArt right there. Again, Queen Studios. This thing is awesome, man. There's a little bit of a shininess right there. I think that's from the lighting. But again, the skin textures and the texture in general of the suit is unbelievable. Again, here are some of the accessories. And this one actually comes with the bust, which I think it's awesome. So you can put the extra head sculpt on the bust next to the figure right there, which is very nice. Maybe this thing is gonna be made of resin, so that's gonna be very cool. Again, you have the includes highly detailed bust to display the interchangeable head sculpt along with the drape and wire cape. Again, that's pretty much typical. A bunch of fans. You have the Kryptonian key right there, the shackles, the command key. These are maybe gonna be made of die cast. And again, the chrome plating, authentic suit texture. So that what I was talking about. So inside there's pretty much like the chrome suit, and then I mean the chrome body, and then they put the suit on top, so you can kind of have this shininess, which is very nice. Newly designed body. Also, that's very nice. See who hides the joints under the suit, so that's very nice. Because again, this thing looks just like a statue, to be quite honest. So again, that's very nice. And again, that head sculpt, man, very nice. It would have been cool if the base would have been more intricate, to be quite honest. But again, it is what it is. Not gonna complain too much about that. So this one uses advanced molding techniques, capture realistic skin textures and facial details, recreating Henry Cavill's resolute presence as Superman. I mean, yeah. Featuring two interchangeable head sculpts with calm and angry expression. I mean, is it really angry? Again, would have been cool to see like his laser eyes. That would have been awesome. Again, here's the shot of everything that this figure comes with. Again, with the fly pole, you can pretty much unzip his suit at the back, put this fly pole in, or you can pretty much use these, I guess, you know, clamp right there. They kind of went away with the magnetic base, which is a little bit strange, but again, I do love the detail here. Pretty much like you know, cracked concrete. Again, the bust looks incredible. You have the Drake cape, the wire cape, and I believe the MSRP on this one is $400. So again, it's not too crazy considering you do have an extra bust. I think the previous Superman, the David Cornsweet one, was 320. So again, this is $80 more. You do have an extra bust, although that one had a better base. You also come with crypto. So again, very nice. As you guys, let me know in the comments below if you're getting this one. Make sure to give me a like, subscribe to the channel. I'm interested in this one, but I'm also interested more in the Christopher Reeve one, maybe the 2-pack. That would be awesome, and the Pennywise. So guys, stick around for the next video. Have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.